In the pouring rain on a desolate highway lined with whispering pines, Jack Harlan gripped the steering wheel of his old Ford pickup, the wipers slapping rhythmically against the relentless downpour. He was a single dad, 38 years old, with calloused hands from long hours at the lumber mill and a heart scarred by loss. His wife gone 3 years now, leaving him to raise their 8-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. The clock on the dash glowed 11:47 p.m., and Jack was bone-tired after a double shift, racing home to the small cabin where Lily waited with her grandma. But then, through the sheets of rain, he spotted her, a figure stumbling along the shoulder, white fabric clinging like a ghost to her slender form. It looked like a wedding dress, torn at the hem, muddied and soaked. No umbrella, no car in sight, just this woman waving desperately as headlights from his truck cut through the night. Jack's instincts kicked in, he couldn't just drive by. Slowing to a stop, he killed the engine, the headlights illuminating her pale face, dark hair plastered to her cheeks, eyes wide with a mix of fear and relief. "Hey, you okay?" he called out, stepping into the storm, his flannel shirt darkening instantly under the deluge. She nodded shakily, her voice barely audible over the thunder. "My car broke down, miles back. Please, can you help?" Jack glanced at the endless road behind her, no signs of life, and something in her trembling stance tugged at him, the same vulnerability he'd seen in Lily's eyes after nightmares. Without a second thought, he waved her toward the passenger door. "Get in, out of this mess. Name's Jack. What's yours?" As Elena Vasquez slid into the worn leather seat of Jack's truck, the scent of pine air freshener and faint coffee mingled with the earthy smell of rain-soaked fabric. She was 29, heiress to a tech empire worth billions, but tonight she felt like a fugitive from her own gilded cage. The wedding, that farce of a ceremony orchestrated by her father, Victor Vasquez, the ruthless CEO who saw alliances as mergers, had unraveled spectacularly. She'd bolted from the altar in her custom Vera Wang gown, the lace sleeves now frayed from brambles she'd crashed through in her escape. Her fiancé, some venture capitalist twice her age, had been more interested in the dowry than her dreams of becoming an artist, painting sunsets over forgotten coasts. Elena's phone was dead, her credit cards left behind in a deliberate act of severance. All she had was the dress, a single diamond earring that had survived the sprint, and a fierce determination to vanish into anonymity. Jack cranked the heat, the vents wheezing to life, and tossed her a threadbare blanket from the back. "You look like you've been through hell. That dress, you eloping or something?" His tone was gentle, laced with that rugged Midwestern concern, his beard flecked with raindrops. Elena managed a wry smile, wrapping the blanket around her shoulders. "Something like that, but not the fun kind. I'm Elena." She didn't offer a last name, it would summon helicopters and headlines. Jack nodded, pulling back onto the slick asphalt, the truck's tires humming softly. "Well, Elena, nearest town's 10 miles. Got a motel, a diner if you're hungry. Lily, my kid, she makes killer pancakes in the morning, but that's tomorrow's problem." The mention of his daughter softened his features, and Elena felt an unexpected warmth bloom in her chest, chasing away the chill. The drive unfolded in companionable silence at first, broken only by the patter of rain on the roof and the occasional crackle of Jack's CB radio. He fiddled with the dial, landing on a country station crooning about lost loves and open roads, fitting, Elena thought, as her own story echoed those lyrics. Jack shared snippets of his life without prodding, how Lily's mom, Sarah, had fought cancer like a warrior but lost the battle, leaving him to navigate parent-teacher conferences and bedtime stories solo. "She's got her mom's eyes, blue as Lake Superior," he said, a fond ache in his voice. Elena listened, her fingers tracing the embroidered flowers on her ruined gown, marveling at this stranger's quiet strength. In her world of private jets and boardroom battles, vulnerability was a weakness to be excised, not shared over a dashboard glow. "What about you?" Jack asked, glancing her way. "Family. What brings a bride to hitching on Highway 17 at midnight?" Elena hesitated, the truth of Pandora's box. "Family expectations," she said finally. "The kind that strangle dreams. I was supposed to say, I do, to a life I didn't choose." Jack chuckled softly. "Sounds like my ex-boss, pushing quotas like they were sacraments. Quit that mill job once, drove cross-country for a week. Cleared my head." His words landed like permission, and Elena found herself unburdening fragments, Her sketches hidden in a Manhattan penthouse, the gallery show her father dismissed as hobby nonsense. By the time the neon sign of Milford Diner flickered into view, the knot in her stomach had loosened. Jack parked, killing the engine. Coffee's on me. Can't send a runaway into the night without caffeine. Inside the diner, the air was thick with grease and nostalgia. Red vinyl booze cracked from years of secrets spilled over pie. The lone waitress, Mabel, eyed Alina's disheveled elegance with raised brows but said nothing, pouring 2 mugs of black brew strong enough to wake the dead. Jack added sugar to his, stirring methodically, while Elena cradled hers, the steam curling like unanswered questions. They talked as if they'd known each other lifetimes, not hours. Jack recounting Lily's latest obsession with building forts from scrap wood, Elena admitting her secret love for indie folk records that her socialite crowd deemed quaint. Laughter bubbled up unexpectedly when Jack described his failed attempt at ballet lessons for Lily's recital, big guy in tights, folks. Comedy gold. Elena's guard slipped further. Here, in this fluorescent-lit haven, she wasn't the Vasquez prodigy, just a woman in a torn dress sipping diner coffee. But dawn was creeping, and reality loomed. I need to get to the next town, she said, reluctance threading her words. Start fresh. Jack leaned back, his hazel eyes steady. Fresh starts ain't easy solo. Got a spare room at the cabin, Lily'd love the company. No strings, just a couch and home-cooked meals. It was madness, accepting a ride from a stranger, crashing in his home. Yet as thunder rumbled outside, Elena saw in Jack's offer the anchor she'd been fleeing toward all night. Okay, she whispered. But only till I figure things out. Mabel refilled their mugs with a knowing wink, muttering about fate's funny detours. The cabin nestled in a clearing off a gravel lane, lamplight spilling golden from the windows like a beacon. Lily, tousle-haired and pajama-clad, flung open the door before Jack could knock, her eyes widening at the sight of Elena. Daddy, who's the princess? Did she lose her castle? The girl's innocence pierced Elena's facade, and she knelt, mud streaking her gown. Something like that, sweetie. I'm Elena. And you're Lily, the fort-building expert. Lily beamed, dragging her inside to a living room cluttered with crayons and dog-eared books. Grandma Harlan, a silver-haired widow with a no-nonsense bun, sized Elena up over her bifocals but offered tea without interrogation.